everybody, Valerie here. I hope you're doing really well. I don't know about you, but I am certainly ready for my favorite time of the year, which is the holiday season. I love Thanksgiving, I love Christmas, I love everything about it, and that includes making hot cocoa bombs. So today I wanted to bring you along with me and show you how I make them. I'm just going to use ingredients I already had in my pantry. You will need a few things. One of those is a mold. Now, I got this one on Amazon. This is a jumbo mold. It's about 2.5 inches in diameter, and one of these hot cocoa bombs is going to make at least 2 cups of hot cocoa. I also have a smaller one. This one's new that I just got this year. I want to try it out, but I'm thinking it will be good for about 8 ounces of hot cocoa. And I'm also going to make chocolate spoons this year to go along with them. And a few other things that you're going to want, some bowls to melt your chocolate in, miniature marshmallows. Now these are the dehydrated miniature marshmallows. Last year I just used the regular mini marshmallows because that's what I had. I was also unable to find these last year, but we're going to try these out this year. I use a couple of different things. Now when I'm making just a traditional hot cocoa bomb milk chocolate, I will use just a Swiss Miss, or really you can use any brand you want, hot cocoa mix, so you'll need some of that. I also like to use coffee creamer. I think that it gives it a great taste. I also like to do a hazelnut and dark chocolate, so I have some dark chocolate candy melts. You can also use Ghirardelli. That's a really good option as well. I want to make a strawberry one, so I have some strawberry candy melts, and I have some strawberry Nesquik. Also, I use almond bark for chocolate and white chocolate. It's just my personal preference. I find it's a lot easier to melt and to get into the molds and to demold than the other forms of chocolate. That is up to you, your personal preference, your taste. I think that these are just fine. I really can't tell a huge difference with them. I also bought some cookies and cream to make some cookies and cream with. So, also some powdered milk. I like to add powdered milk to it. I just think it really just gives it a lot more depth in the flavor and the taste, and it's really good. You can also, to decorate the outside of your hot cocoa bombs when you're done, you can have some different molds that you mold chocolates in. This one is a holly berry. This one is a snowflake. I also have this one that's a snowflake, and I like it a lot more because it makes more delicate snowflake, and these look really nice on top of the hot cocoa bombs. And then my strawberry mold too for the strawberries. So let's get ready. I'm going to melt some chocolates and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and the first one I'm going to make today is the dark chocolate and the hazelnut. And I'm going to make that one in my large 2.5 inch diameter. And so I have melted my dark chocolate. And my personal favorite, instead of using a spoon, I love to use these silicone pastry brushes. I get them at the Dollar Tree for $1 each, and they are absolutely wonderful. I have an embarrassing amount of these actually. So like I said, I have melted the dark chocolate in 15-second increments in the microwave, and just give it a good stir in between each one. You don't want to overheat it too quick and get it too hot. And then I'm just going to, in 2 of these cavities, because I'm just going to make one of these today, I'm going to brush a layer of the dark chocolate. I'm going to adjust the camera there to see if you can see what I'm actually doing here. And I'm just going to brush it up. And don't worry too much about the edges. You are going to be able to clean that up when we demold these and we fill them and put them together. And we are going to do 2 layers of the chocolate, so just go ahead and get that first thin layer in there. And like I said, we're going to do 2 of them. Let me get this turned around here. Get a little bit more. I just find that using the silicone pastry brush just gets it in there so easy, so smooth, makes it easy to work with. And then what I'll do once I get this first layer in there is I'm going to go pop this into the fridge and let it set real quick, and then we'll be right back. Okay, as you can see, our first layer has set. And it really only takes about a minute or two in the fridge for that first layer to set. But as you can see, it's got some little holes in it. I don't know if you can really see what I'm seeing here, but we're gonna go ahead and put a second layer of our chocolate in. So I'm just gonna give it a stir. And then I'm just gonna go right back over it. Making sure that I fill in all of those crevices that have the holes in them. Pulling it up to the edge. And I'm not squeezing the bottom of the mold, I'm just letting it rest in my hand, because if you squeeze it too hard, you will go ahead and crack your mold. I'm gonna go ahead and do this other one. There we go. And then we're just going to pop it back into the fridge to let the second layer set. And while that is in the fridge setting, I'm going to go ahead and melt a few more flavors of my chocolate so we can work on our smaller Cocoa Bombs. So I think what we will do for that is the strawberry and the white chocolate. So I'm going to go ahead and get those melted, let this set, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I have pulled the dark chocolate out of the fridge, and then in just a minute I'll show you how we demold that. But before we do so, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the strawberry and the white chocolate going. So we have melted our strawberry candy melts. And guys, let me tell you, if you are struggling to get a smooth texture when you're melting these candy melts, this is about a half of one of the small bags of candy melts, and I added about 1 teaspoon of shortening, and it helped get it really, really smooth. Just be careful not to add too much. And then I went ahead and melted the white chocolate as well. So we're going to do this the same way that we did the large 2.5 diameter, and I'm just going to go ahead and fill these with the first coat. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust this camera down so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. All right, so we'll do the strawberry first, give it a good stir. And I'm just going to go ahead and fill in that first one. Now when I do my strawberry, I like to do 1/2 of the spear in the strawberry and 1/2 in the white chocolate, because I'm also putting strawberry mix in the middle and I don't want it to be too overpowering. So I'm just going to do one of those right now, and then the other half will be the white chocolate. So we'll go ahead and fill that in. And again, you don't have to worry about the edges being messy. We are going to clean these up before we put them together. Just going to get that first coat in there. And then we also want to do a white chocolate one. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 more of these. Spread that around as good as I can on that first one. And again, I'm not really squeezing the bottom of the mold. I'm just kind of letting it rest in my hand. Put a little bit more right down there in the bottom. Okay guys, I'm going to pop these into the fridge, and then I'm going to get everything ready to do the last 2 flavors that I'm doing today, which will be cookies and cream and milk chocolate. So I'm going to get those melted and I'll be right back. Okay, so these have been in the fridge for about 2 minutes, and I'm gonna go ahead and, just like the others, put in a second layer. So I'm just gonna give my strawberry candy melts a good stir and brush in that second layer. And I know it looks really messy right now, but the other side, when we pop them out of the molds, they're gonna be very smooth. Just make sure to come on up around the edges when you do your second coat to make sure the edges are good and sturdy and they don't break when we go to pop them out of the molds. All right, so now we're gonna do the white chocolate, so I'm just gonna give it a good stir. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'm just going to allow the mold to rest in my hand instead of putting any pressure on it, because at this point I really don't want to break that first layer of the mold that's in there. And it does look like a hot mess right now, but I promise you, you'll see the magic soon. And the great thing about these guys, if you mess up, if you break your molds, just pop them in a bowl and remelt them and do it again. Okay, I'm gonna do this last one. And then I'm gonna pop this into the fridge just for a few minutes, let it set. And then I'm going to go ahead, I have melted my cookies and cream and my milk chocolate. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get those molds, get their first layer in, get them in the fridge, get everything ready, and then I will bring you back when I am ready to demold these and show you the easiest way to make that happen. Okay, so while the molds are completing their chill time in the fridge, I wanted to go ahead and try out this new spoon mold that I got. Now I have another spoon mold and it's a little bit larger, but these are so cute and they're little and they're dainty. And I'm not really sure how they're gonna turn out, but we're gonna try it and see. So I put my leftover chocolates, the white chocolate and the milk chocolate, into these piping bags, and I'm just going to snip a very small amount off the end. And I am going to do a few of them. Some of them I might swirl. And as you see, I'm just putting some in there. And I'm just gonna tap that down. Try to make sure there's no air bubbles left in there. I think I want to do a swirled one, so do just a little bit, and then bring the chocolate, and then I'm just going to tap that one. Hopefully that'll work out how it looks in my head. And then looks like my white chocolate is trying to set up just a little bit. There we go. I want to, and I'm going to use a chopstick to make this happen. To do a true marbled look, so I'm going to squirt a little bit of the white in there, go over it with some chocolate, and then I'm going to come back and just kind of go in and swirl it. Again, I'm not really sure what we're going to get when I pop these out, but we can both be surprised together. And then I'm just going to tap that down so there's no air bubbles. It's a little thin right here, so I'm just going to add a little bit more chocolate. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop these in the fridge as well, and we'll be right back. So next we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a strawberry to go on top of the strawberry hot cocoa bomb, and I want to make a few snowflakes as well. And I just went ahead and melted some red and blue candy melts into these piping bags. You just do it in 10 to 15 second increments and massage the bag in between each one so you do not overheat it and seize it. You can also do white snowflakes, and if I were making these to sell, I would also add some green leaves to these strawberries, but since they're just for the house, for my family, I'm just going to do the red. So I'm going to snip off a very small tip from the red, and I'm going to, if you can see in this mold, there are several different sized strawberries. I think I will do the medium sized and the large one. So I'm just going to fill those in real quick. And then I'm going to give it a tap on the counter, help it settle in there so there's no air pockets, air bubbles. And if you were to get some along the edges, you can clean it up. This is a great little scraper tool that I got from Sugar Belle, but you could also use the flat side of a case knife, or a butter knife as we call it. Now I'm going to pick a few snowflakes, and this mold has a lot of different ones to choose from. I'm just going to pick a few of my favorites. And I probably cut this hole just a little bit too big, but that's okay. So I made it too big. But we'll do these two, and you'll get to see me use this scraper since I did that. So I'm going to go ahead and get it to spread around in the mold. Make sure all the crevices are filled. And then I'm going to take my scraper, and I'm just going to scrape over the back of it, and then I'll wipe that off and do the other one. And then we will pop these into the fridge and let them sit really quick, and we'll be right back. Okay, so now we're going to demold these, and when I first started, I broke so many shells, so just anticipate that it's going to happen. You want to make sure that you are not squeezing the bottom of your mold too much. And the best way to do this is, let me adjust this camera just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. First, just kind of loosen the edges around your mold. Like that. And then I'm going to push gently from the bottom while pulling away from the side. If you can see what I'm doing here. And guys, look how smooth that is. And if you have any imperfections whatsoever, if you put drizzle on the top of your hot cocoa bombs or any kind of decoration, that is going to cover any imperfections up. We're going to pop this one out. Look how smooth, guys. I know there's a glare on it, but all right, we're going to go ahead and demold all of these. We're going to do them the same way. Let me adjust this camera just a little bit more so you can really kind of tell better what I'm doing. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to gently pull away the edges and loosen it up. I'm not going to pull it too hard because that will cause it to break. I'm going to push from the bottom, and looky there. I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. I'm just going to pop it right out. I'll go ahead and get all of these done. Just loosening up these edges. Look at that. All right, we got one more of the large ones to demold. If you were to break one, just remelt it. All right, now let's take a look at these small ones. And we're going to do it the same exact way. We're just going to loosen the edges and pop them out. And once you've done these a few times, you can get quicker and quicker with them. And there we go. Again, we're not going to worry about these messy sides because you're going to see in just a minute how we're going to clean those up. All right, let me get everything ready and we will be right back. Okay, so the best way to clean up these edges and get them ready to fill with all the goodies is to have a piece of parchment paper. And some people use a hot plate that they've warmed up in the microwave. I prefer a pot. The metal just stays warmer longer. You just have to be really careful not to get it too hot because you will definitely melt away more of your hot cocoa bomb than you want. But just place this over the hot pot, and sometimes you will have to reheat your pan several times throughout the process. It really just depends on how many of these you were doing. So what we're going to do, let me readjust this camera just a little bit. Let's see here. There, I think you can kind of see what I'm doing now. And as you'll notice, I have jumbo muffin liners for the large hot cocoa bombs, and I have standard cupcake papers for the small ones. So I'm gonna take the dark chocolate one, and I'm just gently going to rub it around just like that. And look how it cleans those edges up. Can you see how clean those edges are? And I'm going to pop it down into the liner, just like that. And as you can see, it cleaned them right up. If you hold it on there too long, it will melt away more than you want it to. So you have to be really, really careful about that. We're only gonna do 1/2 of each one right now because we wanna fill them before we melt the sides of the other half, because as soon as we melt the sides of the other half of the spear, we're going to, before it cools, we're going to put the two together and it's going to seal them together as it dries and cools off. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do one of our smaller white chocolate ones. As you can see, did really well. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do our cookies and cream. Hey there, so I am back, and now we're going to do the fun part. We're going to fill these hot cocoa bombs up. So the first one I'm gonna do is the dark chocolate and hazelnut. And this is just the way I do it. You can really do it any way you want to based on your preference. We're not making a peppermint white chocolate today, but if I did, I would add peppermint oil to my white chocolate to give it a peppermint flavor, and I would add crushed peppermints to the inside as well. But for the hazelnut hot chocolate cocoa bomb, I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of my cocoa mix, and I'm just going to put it right in there. I am going to do about 3/4 of a tablespoon of the hazelnut coffee creamer. And I'm going to do a 1/2 tablespoon, again I'm eyeballing these here, of my powdered milk. And then I'm just going to throw in some mini marshmallows. If you're using the mini marshmallows that are not dehydrated, you really have to stuff them in there when you go to seal them to make sure that they all fit. Okay, so it's that simple for that one. So we're gonna set this one over here to the side. Now this is just the traditional milk chocolate. So I'm just going to put a tablespoon of my hot cocoa mix. And the creamer, that is the original flavor. I'm just gonna add a tablespoon of that. And about a half tablespoon of the powdered milk. That just gives it a rich depth in the taste. It's a personal preference, and I really like it a lot. I'm going to go ahead and add some more of these little miniature marshmallows. You can put as few or as many as you like. Guys, you can also fill these up with sprinkles, just about anything that you want. Just remember, if you're wanting these to be shelf stable for a while, not to put anything extremely perishable inside of them. All right, so we've got that one done. We're gonna set it to the side. Now we have our cookies and cream. So again, same process. I'm just going to go ahead and do about a tablespoon of the hot cocoa mix. I'm going to do a tablespoon of the original coffee creamer. And I'm just going to add some marshmallows. Some of the dehydrated marshmallows. They also make fun shaped marshmallows in different shapes, so especially around the holidays. You can get Christmas tree shaped ones and things like that, and you can certainly use those. You won't, I mean, the larger they are, the fewer that you can fit in there, but whatever you can fit, whatever will work, go for it. Okay, so now for our strawberry. Okay, so guys, these are the smaller hot cocoa bombs. When you are making these, I would recommend about 8 ounces of hot milk or water. I prefer milk. So because of that, we don't need the same amount of hot cocoa powder and creamer that we would use on the larger one. So I'm going to do about a half of a tablespoon of the strawberry. And then I will do about a half of a tablespoon of the powdered milk. And about a teaspoon of the creamer. And then I'm going to add my marshmallows. All right, we've got one more to do before we seal these up. And this is just our white chocolate. Now guys, normally I would put white chocolate cocoa powder in here, and I'm out of that today, so I'm just gonna use my regular hot cocoa. I'm gonna do about a half a tablespoon, and then about a half a tablespoon of the creamer, and about a teaspoon of the powdered milk. Again, this mix, it's really based on your preference and how you want to do it. There are a million recipes literally on the internet for all different kinds of flavors. I did personally last year, the salted caramel was my favorite, but this year so far I have not been able to find the salted caramel candy melts, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to make those this year. All right, so we have all of these filled, and I'm going to go and reheat my pot again, and we're going to get these sealed up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we are back. I have reheated my hot pan, and I have a new clean piece of parchment paper, and we are going to seal these bad boys up. So we will start with the hazelnut dark chocolate. And I am going to take the other half of the shell. I'm going to do it the same way on top of the hot pan, and I'm going to quickly put the two together and I'm just going to hold it for a second until it cools enough that it will stay together. If your seams are not perfect, you can take your finger and just go around the sides. But again, you're going to be putting drizzle and decorations on the top of these, and a lot of that's going to be covered up. So just going to gently place that back into the paper, and I'm going to set it to the side and let it cool. And I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these the same way. So here we have the traditional milk chocolate. I'm just going to get this one like this. And then I'm going to very quickly go ahead and seal them together. Sometimes it just needs a little bit of help. And guys, if you are going to be selling these and you want to make sure that you don't get any fingerprints on them, you can wear kitchen gloves, latex gloves, and that will definitely help with that. But when I'm making them for my family, I just make sure my hands are clean. All right, so next we are going to go ahead and go to the cookies and cream. And it's the same process. If you don't want to pick the bottom up, you can pick up the whole paper mold like this and seal them together. Like that. And then we're just going to finish up with our two small ones. I just prefer to pick them up. Look how cute these are. I can't wait to get them all decorated. All right. And then we've got one more. Seal them together. All right. So now we have them all together. I'm going to clean up my workspace just a little bit, and we're going to come back and we're going to put the bedazzle on these. Be right back. Okay, so now we're ready to put on the final bedazzling touches, and we will start with the cookies and cream. I don't have any Oreo cookies today, so I'm just going to drizzle this one with chocolate, and I'm going to put a few sprinkles on top. So just going to drizzle it, and I drizzle them right in the paper liner. You can do these in cupcake muffin pans. And then I'm just going to set it to the side to let it go ahead and cool. The next one I'm going to do is the milk chocolate, and I am going to drizzle it with white chocolate. And again, these are just leftover from where we created the molds, and I just reheated them a little bit. And then I'm going to pop a piece of chocolate on top of it. I'm going to hold it for just a minute, let it cool, and then I will move it over to the side. Next, we're going to do our dark chocolate hazelnut. And I'm going to drizzle it with white chocolate as well. And I'm going to, this is a piece of chocolate that has hazelnuts in it. I'm just going to place it right on top and then set it to the side and let it cool. Next, we are going to do our snowflake. And I have these adorable little snowflake, I don't know if you can tell, but they're snowflake sprinkles. And they are so cute. You can actually, there you go. You can actually put these inside the hot cocoa bomb too if you want. And I am just going to drizzle a little bit of the white chocolate. Across the top. I'm going to add a few non-peril sprinkles, a few of the snowflake sprinkles, and then the little blue snowflake that we made. I'm just going to go ahead and pop it right on top. And I'm going to set these to the side and allow it to cool. And our last one is going to be our strawberry. And again, I'm just going to drizzle the top with a little bit of the white chocolate. Now, you want to make sure that what you're drizzling on the top of your mold is not too hot, because it'll melt your mold. So you don't want that to happen. You don't want it to melt your hot cocoa bomb. So I placed the strawberry that we made with the mold on top, and I'm just going to add a few of the little non-peril sprinkles to that. And guys, I'm gonna let these completely cool, and then I'm gonna bring you back to see the finished product. So now it's time for my most favorite part, and that's actually making the hot cocoa. This is so much fun. These have turned out so cute, and now you get to enjoy the fruit of your labor. And guys, this is so much fun to do with the kids, with the grandkids. We had made some last year with mermaid tails and unicorn horns, and we took them to our grandbabies, and just the look of excitement and wonder on their face when it burst open, when we poured the hot milk on it and all the marshmallows came busting out in an explosion. It was great to see. What you will need is a mug. You're going to need a very large mug for the large cocoa bombs, and just a standard size mug for the smaller ones. You need to get your milk piping hot, almost scalded. That's really the key, is really hot milk. If you don't want to drink it that hot, I promise you it'll cool off really quick, but you do need it pretty hot to get the full effect of the explosion. And what we're going to do, we will do one of each of these, and when you lay your cocoa bomb into your mug, just go ahead and kind of lay it on its side. That way when you pour your milk in, it hits that seam and you get the explosion really quick. And again, I think that these larger hot cocoa bombs, I really think they're good for 16 to 24 ounces of milk, but it's going to depend on how rich you like yours. I don't really like mine very rich. The smaller ones, we're going to go for about 8 ounces. So now I'm going to switch over and bring you back where you can see the magic happen. Okay, we're going to do our cookies and cream. And again, we're just going to pour it directly over the seam, very slowly. Wait for it, wait for it, and there we go. And again, these were the smaller dehydrated marshmallows. If you use regular size marshmallows, you're going to get a larger explosion. But our cocoa boxes come with extra marshmallows, so we're just going to throw some of them in there. And again, the little chocolate spoons that we made, just going to add some extra goodness and throw that in there. Going to mix it all up real good, and then we're going to enjoy it. Okay, here we go with our jumbo. You want to pour slow. Try to pour steady in one spot. And get ready to watch the magic happen. There we go. Now if you use the larger marshmallows, you will get a larger marshmallow explosion. But once you get it all in there, then we're just going to stir it up until it all gets mixed in together. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed today. And just remember, there's really no wrong way or right way to go about doing it. You just have to find what works for you, and the combinations of flavors are endless. These are so fun to do, so much fun to give as gifts. People love getting them as gifts. You can pair them with mugs or put them several in a box and tie them up with a bow, and they're amazing gifts for teachers and friends and neighbors. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll be making some. Delicious. See you later.